I've played this before, but this is the Senate candidate that we're all a fan of in Michigan, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, talking about making this exact point, and I think it just can't be repeated enough.
Well, I think we're so often focused on what we're against rather than saying what we're for. And too often, those of us who have stood for science, we've had a really hard go of it because we've watched as corporations who we entrust to make things like vaccines and pharmaceuticals that people need and deserve, they have too often written the rules that regulate them. And that's meant that our healthcare is out of reach. I got to be honest with you, during COVID, we're asking people to take a vaccine for a disease that didn't exist a year ago, but then they can't afford insulin, which is medication for a disease they know they have. I think we have to recognize that the trust in public health has to also be trust in the healthcare system. And what that means is that we've got to make it easier to get healthcare in the first place. So I want to be going out there saying, hey, look, in a healthcare system where no matter what you do for a living, if you're working at all, you can go and get healthcare, even if you've been laid off of your job, and you don't have to worry about falling into medical debt. And by the way, when there's a new pandemic, here's a new medication we created that you can take to protect yourself. But when you feel locked out of the healthcare system, like too many people do, then when we come to you with a new medication that's for free for a disease that didn't exist a year ago, you're probably less likely to trust us. And so there's a reason as a public health official, I wrote the book on Medicare for All, because I know that if we're not serious about guaranteeing every single person in this country access to health care, then we're going to continue to lose the battle for hearts and minds when it comes to public health too.
I bought that book back in the day. Abdul El-Sayed is a phenomenal candidate, and
has to win.
Mallory McMorrow should be doing the right thing here and stepping aside, because we cannot let AIPAC, Ghoul, Marge Simpson-ass voice, Haley Stevens, charisma vacuum Haley Stevens, to be the second Do we really need another AIPAC freak in Michigan? This state is blue now. Why? This is the Pennsylvania syndrome. Like, the states are blue. We don't need to elect these, like, that are trending blue, these corporate moderates here. Let's get behind Abdul El-Sayed, and the people that are reticent to do it, like, stop. There's this casual racism about Muslim people, and it's like too radical just by definition. Why? He's a former public health official. He has deep experience in government too, and is the exact antidote to this moment, because as you mentioned, Matt, like, that is the way you take that same almost argument that RFK makes. He said the people on the in the CDC are too often, there's conflict of interest. That's what RFK was saying just a few days ago, speaking about, like, some of the corruption there, right? And that was the justification for his firings. This is how you make the positive case while still touching on that thing that unfortunately Kennedy has tapped into. But speaking of that guy, Brian found this. He made a bit of a slip up. I guess this was on Fox News last week, number 15. He doesn't remember things he should, including the fact that Susan Menarez, the former CDC director that he fired, who you just heard her testimony, he was the one that hired her.
I was brought in like a general manager of the losingest team in baseball. You would want them to make some changes when they come in, and we're making changes, and change always has its opponents. But we're making changes for the best, for the betterment of the American people, so that we can go from the word,
let me just ask you about CDC.
Let me just say that CDC announced last week that the chronic disease rate in this country is 76.4%. It was 11% when my uncle was president. It was 3% in 1950. We are the sickest country in the world, and we got to do something different. And it's going to require change, and some of the people who presided over this mess have to leave.
But understand that you hired Susan Menarez, and she wrote that public health shouldn't be partisan. Vaccines have saved millions of lives under administrations of both parties. Parents deserve a CDC they can trust and put children above politics, evidence above ideology, and facts above fear. I was fired for holding that line. She said, if we stay silent, preventable diseases will return. If we act, the facts can still prevail. That was her words.
Yeah, you're the one that hired her, buddy. He's just the the reporting and what they are claiming to in the hearing is that Trump is just like, he RFK runs everything through Trump, calls him, and this
Imagine
is
getting that phone call every day.
Oh,
hey, Donnie, Dad.
yeah. Trump's probably keeps those pretty brief, I would imagine, but. This is the Project 2025 too, like the firing and the gutting and the dismantling of our entire government and the federal workforce. Bobby's like, acting like he's this renegade, and he just says to Trump, "You tell me to jump, and I will. You just say how high, and I'll jump in these jeans. It's gonna limit me a little bit, but I'm not taking them off."
It's the CDC that's caused those numbers to rise. About like, what did he call?
It's capitalism. It's the fact that they're like, it's our healthcare is insanely expensive.
Yeah.
That's why we have sickness in and our life expectancy and our infant mortality rate is way worse than every other nation that is equivalent to our wealth. And there is no nation that's equivalent to our wealth. It's just that it's being hoarded at the top by the president that Bobby serves.
Do you know what cities look like in the 1950s when people had that lower level of probably like obesity is the main difference there is that you could walk them. Instead, we've created an entire society of strip malls where people walk to a parking lot. That's the most exercise they get. Oh, burn 25 activity calories. Great job. Get into a car, drive to some place, fast food or, Famous Dave's. Maybe that's too local of a chain. Texas Roadhouse, I guess.
How about McDonald's?
McDonald's, and then you don't get any exercise.
Yep.
And also you're working like 40 hours a week to not even really pay your rent and all your expenses, so you don't really have time to do anything else. It's very obvious what's caused this, and it's a combination of a suburban, just how we've just planned everything as being suburban lifestyles, and also the addition by capitalists running our food systems of really cheap calories.
And you've seen how like beauty standards have changed around that too. We've talked about this on the show before, but like it used to be 150 years ago or something like that. Like to be a desirable woman, for example, it's like you be pale, don't be in the sun a lot, and also like don't have like a muscular structure or whatever. But now what beauty standards move with wealth, and wealth is associated with being able to be as fit as possible, have a personal trainer or whatever, and be able to go on vacation a lot. So it's like tanned and toned and that stuff. And so health has become a luxury good for the wealthy. And that's reflected in our culture.
It's because of the CDC.
And it's reflected in whatever Bobby injects into his body and in the way that he approaches healthcare. Because we don't have any public health infrastructure and we don't guarantee healthcare, and it is privileged. Healthcare is privileged for the wealthier people in our society. And RFK Jr. has no plans to change that whatsoever. In fact, he's a part of an administration that is gutting Medicaid and is throwing 15 million people off of their health insurance. Is that going to solve chronic disease?
That's going to make people like
Maybe
him
they'll
be
die.
taxed more, and it's going to cost them a lot of money. So, it can't be paying for that.
Molotov Burrito, you also don't have much interaction with your community. Very true. Midwest Ranch says, let's talk about why chronic disease is so high then. 40-hour plus work weeks. So you can't go outside or walk or have energy or time to exercise or pursue hobbies or community. Local farming destroyed. Food is highly processed. Flint still has poor water quality. I'm so sick of hearing them talk about the things in the vacuum and that tanning your taint will fix you. Jesus Christ.
It's just seed oils. That's all it is. It's just seed oils.
It's not,
One more seed.
It's not a surprise that as Americans, working class people, their wages have been stagnant since the 80s, that their health has also not been improving since then. It's material.
Yep.
That's why everybody should sign up for the United States military. And that's where you'll get the finest healthcare you can possibly get.
I mean,
It's literally the only way to get
Gotta
healthcare.
say, that's part of it.
It's a
same
poverty
thing with
draft.
free college, 100%. They know they can provide these things for people. They're worried also, like, I don't know what the numbers are now, and they're probably recruiting some fascists, but military recruitment has been down. So that's part of it too. How do we maintain our war machine? Well, we can't guarantee what we guaranteed to people in the military, to everybody. What else would we offer them? Maybe raise their wages in the military.
I mean, that they had to put college loan forgiveness on the ICE recruitment thing.
Exactly.
It says everything you need to know about why they didn't want to do that in the first place.
Cole from Little Rock, that's silly. I have chronic illness that I can manage with diet and not have to take medication if I stick to diet. Medication would allow me to eat whatever I want, but I can't afford it perpetually. Point is that I know I have chronic illness because medical understanding has come so far. In 1950, they just think I choked a lot. Now I know why, but I'm still a statistic, but screw him for using me to further his agenda.
Yeah, part of that is just greater. I mean, the same thing with the autism hysteria from all these people is greater diagnosis of things and acting as if, oh, that means this is a new thing as opposed to a newly diagnosed thing.
Yeah. Carolina Socialist, Emma, honestly, if you've taken shrooms, you don't need to take acid. No comment.
Shrooms are like Lord of the Rings, acid are like Star Wars.
Oh. That helps.
This sounds fleshed out.
Yeah.
That didn't come out of nowhere.
I prefer Lord of the Rings, so there you go.
I like them both.
I like them both, but
I'm talking about acid and mushrooms.
okay, there you go. Jay Tingle, Hoover was a horse racing enthusiast and had his losses constantly forgiven. He was at the track in Maryland on the day of JFK's funeral. He is. He also, I believe, was. What was the oil tycoon that bought the Del Mar racetrack too? That allowed that.
What?
Forget it. I'm like thinking about a video essay I watched like 4 months ago, but there was like the guy that bought the Del Mar racetrack was this oil tycoon and allegedly
William Quigley? No?
maybe allegedly allowed Hoover to gamble there basically without he would cover his losses if he didn't win.
That's a fun way to gamble.
Which is a way but it's a way.
What a rush.
Right, but it's a
That's
way.
why I like to play The Sims. Just
It's a
cheat
way
codes.
it's a way to bribe him. It's a way to bribe him without, like, that's what how casinos could function too, or a way to pay him without actually paying him, right? Now this is gonna kill me. God. All right, whatever. Don't take everything I said there to the mat because I'm worried. Damn it. All right, never mind. I'm making it up then. Forget it. Scratch that. I'm not making it up, but it's going to bother me, and I can't verify it right now. If someone would IM and help me.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.